bulge and bar are visible, but its true dimensions only emerge in deep long-exposure observations, revealing an immense disk that contains a faint spiral structure. Malin 1 belongs to a class of galaxies known as low-surface brightness galaxies, LSBs. These galaxies defy the classical expectations of star formation, as their gas densities are too low to easily trigger the gravitational collapse required to ignite star birth on a grand scale. Yet Malin 1 contains a massive dark matter halo that helps maintain its stability. It rotates with surprising coherence, suggesting that despite its ghostly appearance, it is dynamically mature and gravitationally bound. The faint spiral arms of Malin 1 hint at a complex evolutionary history. Some researchers speculate that it formed in relative isolation, avoiding the interactions and mergers that typically stimulate bursts of star formation in more luminous galaxies. Others propose that its faint disk was built up slowly over cosmic time, fed by cold gas accretion or minor mergers that preserved its delicate structure without igniting dramatic starbursts. Either scenario paints a picture of galactic evolution that is far more subtle and extended than the violent histories of brighter galaxies. In ultraviolet and radio wavelengths, Malin 1 reveals more secrets. While the optical image suggests dormancy, other parts of the spectrum hint at ongoing, albeit inefficient, star formation. The neutral hydrogen envelope enveloping the galaxy is immense, extending even farther than the visible structure. Of gas signal 1 goes to a more luminous phase, though for now it remains in a low-energy slumber. The study of Malin 1 offers valuable clues about the dark sector of the universe. Since much of its mass is non-luminous, dominated by dark matter, it serves as a natural laboratory for understanding how such halos influence galaxy formation and longevity. The galaxy's stability, despite its low brightness and minimal star formation, supports models in which dark matter acts as a cosmic scaffold, allowing large but faint structures to persist for billions of years. Even the detection of Malin 1 is a reminder of the limitations of our observational tools. For every bright galaxy catalogued by astronomers, there may be many more like Malin 1, massive, ancient, and almost invisible, waiting to be discovered in the dim reaches of the cosmos. The universe, as it turns out, may be far less luminous than we imagined, and far more populated by these hidden giants whose light barely whispers through space. The discovery of galaxies like Malin 1 has reshaped our understanding of the so-called missing baryon problem, the discrepancy between the expected amount of normal matter in the universe and what we can observe directly. In systems like Malin 1, much of the baryonic matter may exist in a cold, diffuse state that evades detection by conventional surveys. These galaxies remind us that visibility does not equate to significance. What shines brightly is often not what dominates the mass budget of the cosmos. Malin 1 also poses a challenge to galactic classification systems. Traditionally, galaxies have been sorted into neat categories: spirals, ellipticals, lenticulars, based on their morphology and brightness. Malin 1, with its faint spiral arms stretched across an immense disk, seems to belong everywhere and nowhere. Its central bulge suggests a history of structure and organization, but the surrounding haze resists simple labels. It is both structured and amorphous, active and quiescent, visible and nearly invisible. This duality makes it a subject of fascination among astronomers and a source of uncertainty in theoretical models. The environment in which Malin 1 formed is also a topic of intense interest. Unlike galaxies that reside in crowded clusters or along dense filaments of the cosmic web, Malin 1 appears to occupy a relatively isolated region. This solitude may have protected it from disruptive gravitational encounters, allowing it to retain its gas and develop at a more glacial pace. It might be a relic of an early epoch formation, characteristics that were primordial rare today. Recent simulations have begun to reproduce galaxies with similar properties, hinting that low-surface brightness giants like Malin may first be a natural outcome in certain regimes of dark matter halo formation and gas cooling. These models show that when the angular momentum of a forming galaxy is unusually high, the result can be an extended, diffuse disk with slow star formation and low surface brightness. Malin 1, then, could represent a maximal case, a galaxy spun out so broadly that its light is forever stretched thin. There is also a philosophical dimension to Malin 1's existence. Its near invisibility speaks to the limits of perception and the importance of patience in science. For decades, its mass, its structure, and its grandeur were hidden in plain sight, not because it was small or distant, but because it did not conform to what we were looking for. Its discovery was not the result of brighter instruments alone, but of a shift in thinking, a willingness to peer deeper, to question assumptions, to chase shadows. In that sense, Malin 1 is not just a galactic anomaly, it is a symbol of humility and curiosity. It reminds us that the universe is not arranged for our convenience or immediate comprehension. There are vast structures moving silently through the void, influencing cosmic flows and gravitational dynamics, even if their light does not pierce the sky with brilliance. They are the dark dancers of the universe, weaving threads we are only beginning to trace. And so, the study of Malin 1 continues, not merely to understand one galaxy, but to probe the deeper architecture of the cosmos. It stands as a monument to the hidden majority, the unlit, the overlooked, the profound. Malin 1's structure continues to perplex astronomers, especially when considering the coherence of its rotation and the presence of spiral arms in such a low-density environment. Normally, spiral structure arises from density waves propagating through disks with significant star-forming activity, yet in Malin 1, these arms are ghostly, so faint they barely mark the boundary between organized form and cosmic haze. This suggests that even in extreme conditions, gravitational physics and angular momentum can sculpt recognizable patterns out of near-nothingness. The galaxy's massive dark matter halo, inferred from its rotational dynamics, likely plays a crucial role in holding the vast disk together. Without this invisible gravitational glue, such an extended and tenuous structure would be unable to maintain its integrity. In a universe where dark matter outweighs baryonic matter by a factor of 5, Malin 1 stands as one of the clearest examples of how dark matter can dominate not just in mass, but in shaping the destiny and visibility of galaxies themselves. Efforts to map Malin 1 in higher resolution continue, especially with new generations capable of deep imaging in multiple wavelengths. Observations using the Hubble Space Telescope have revealed some structure, but its outer disk remains even to our best detection. Radio telescopes, such as the Square Matter Array (SKA), are expected on its massive reservoir, potential to extend invisible clumps of gas that may one day ignite faintness of Malin raises a broader cosmology. How many more such giants are out there, undiscovered simply because they evade our thresholds of detection? If galaxies like Malin 1 are common in the universe's outskirts, or even in its underexplored voids, our understanding of galaxy population statistics, cosmic star formation history, and baryon distribution may be missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. These galaxies may represent an entire hidden class of structures that bridge the gap between traditional galaxies and the diffuse intergalactic medium. Astronomers are now applying advanced machine learning techniques through deep survey data, searching for the telltale signs of low-surface brightness giants. The goal is not only to find more Malin 1 analogs but also to understand the full diversity of galaxies in the universe, from blazing starburst systems to cold, ancient behemoths that drift in silence. Each new discovery offers a window into the wide parameter space of galactic formation, demonstrating how variations in spin, mass, gas content, and environment can lead to radically different outcomes. Malin 1 exists on the edge, not just of visibility, but of understanding. It is a relic of a quieter cosmic path, one not marked by violent collisions or explosive evolution, but by the slow accumulation of mass and the silent organization of structure in the darkness. It calls into question our instruments, the assumptions, and the stories we tell about what it means to be a galaxy. And yet, despite its silence, Malin 1 speaks. It speaks of a cosmos more subtle and intricate than we imagined. It invites us to look longer, deeper, and more carefully, to listen not only to the brilliant, but to the barely perceptible whispers in the void. As we refine our tools and expand our cosmic reach, Malin 1 continues to challenge our perception of galactic diversity. It embodies a paradox. An object so immense in scale and mass, yet so faint it remained hidden for most of modern astronomy. This contradiction forces us to confront the observational biases that have shaped our models of galaxy evolution. For decades, our understanding has been dominated by galaxies that shine brightly, form stars prolifically, and display vivid structure, spirals blazing with stellar nurseries, ellipticals saturated with old, red suns. Malin 1, in contrast, is quiet, dim, and stretched across a canvas of darkness. Yet it may be more representative of the universe's hidden majority than the dazzling exceptions we've grown accustomed to studying. There is also something profoundly elegant about the architecture of Malin 1. Despite the weakness of its light, its structure is coherent and organized. This suggests that order in the universe need not always arise from energetic processes. Instead, it can emerge from slowness, stability, and patience. The spiral arms of Malin may first be old, persistent features that have not because of intense activity, but because of a delicate equilibrium, a balance between gravity, inertia, and time. Its outer disk, hundreds of thousands of light years wide, may have taken billions of years to accumulate, fed slowly by infalling gas or cooled intergalactic filaments and invisible to us. Such a slow-forming giant also redefines what it means for a galaxy to evolve. In Malin 1, evolution is not a series of sudden transformations, but a gradual unfolding. It does not burn its fuel in fiery bursts, but explores it across epochs, hinting at the possibility of a long-term galactic life vastly different from that of luminous galaxies like the Milky Way. If star formation is a form of cosmic expression, then Malin 1 is a whisper rather than a roar, and that whisper may last far longer. There's also an intriguing tension in Malin 1's invisibility. It is not invisible because it is far away in the traditional sense. Its redshift places it at a distance of about 1.2 billion light-years, but because its brightness per unit area is so low. This makes it a reminder that the cosmos is not only structured by distance and scale, but by the ways in which energy is distributed and emitted. Surface brightness, not just luminosity, becomes a key factor in determining what we see and what we miss. In this way, Malin 1 offers not just a glimpse into another galaxy, but a critique of our own limitations. Its discovery also speaks to the importance of serendipity and innovation in science. When American astronomer David Malin analyzed photographic plates from the UK Schmidt telescope in the 1980s, he wasn't specifically looking for a behemoth hidden in plain sight. But by using a photographic technique that could bring out extremely faint features, he stumbled upon something unprecedented: a spiral galaxy of impossible size and incredible faintness. Discovery not only unveiled a singular object, but opened a whole new category of cosmic research. In the decades since, other low-surface galaxies, and even ultra-diffuse UDGs, have been identified, some with characteristics similar to Malin 1. Yet none scale. It remains the archetype, the benchmark, and in many ways, the mystery. Its discovery has triggered new generations of surveys designed to look deeper and differently, not just to gather light, but to see the shadows that light leaves behind. As our telescopes grow more powerful and sensitive, from the Vera C. Rubin Observatory to the James Webb Space Telescope, we may begin to uncover more such giants. But the challenge remains: how to distinguish the invisible in a universe biased toward the bright. Malin 1 encourages us to reimagine not only how we observe, but what we prioritize in our search for understanding. In the grand cosmic narrative, galaxies like remind us that not all loud, and not all their presence with brilliance. Some, like silent architects, shape the universe behind a veil of subtlety. To know them requires persistence, and the humility to recognize that our sense, even when enhanced by the best instruments, may miss much of what is most important. Malin 1 endures as a cosmic monument to the hidden, the faint, the overlooked, and to the quiet majesty that resides in the margins of visibility. And yet, Malin 1 is more than a scientific, it is a testament to the universe's capacity, whose galaxies is nearly drowned out by the roaring brilliance of its more luminous siblings, and yet a mystery echo louder the deeper we listen. Galaxies are the letters by which the universe writes its story. Then Malin 1 is a hidden chapter, one written in the faintest ink, on the broadest page, which is enough to read it. Its spiral arms, distinct cosmic backdrop, spiral out like ancient brushstrokes on canvas, tracing the structure over 650,000 light-years, more than 6 times the diameter of our Milky Way. And yet, those arms are ablaze with newborns. They are not littered with the glitter of supernovae. They are subdued, veiled in a haze of aged starlight and cold hydrogen gas, as if the galaxy itself is dreaming across epochs. It is not a galaxy that shines, it murmurs. And therein lies the fascination. Malin may first represent an alternate path in galactic evolution, one in which energy is conserved, transformation is slow, and interaction is minimalistic. It hasn't collided violently with other galaxies, hasn't been shredded or stirred by tidal forces. It floats in solitude, far from chaos, quietly maintaining its identity for years. That stillness, that stability, it has endured. And it may be why it holds answers we haven't yet asked. Its colossal halo of dark matter is perhaps the most significant clue to its survival. In normal galaxies, dark matter halos help bind luminous matter together. In Malin, halo is everything in the mass budget, shaping the disk and protecting potential population's integration. Without galaxies valve under its own weakness, Malin 1 becomes a floating cathedral, an impossibly vast, dimly glowing sanctuary of dark matter and dust. Researchers propose that Malin 1 and other low-surface brightness giants may be galaxies, cosmic systems that have massive amounts of gas and dark matter, but lack the necessary density or external triggers to ignite vigorous star formation. They are like engines with all the parts but no spark. Others suggest these galaxies formed early, then shut down, or quenched, before they had a chance to shine. Still others believe these are transitional forms, slowly evolving, slowly growing, building up enough mass and energy to eventually cross some invisible threshold and awaken. And what if that awakening? What if galaxies like Malin 1 are not relics, but seeds? What if under the right conditions, like an influx of intergalactic gas or a chance gravitational encounter, they could ignite, illuminating the cosmos with a delayed burst of starlight, like ancient lanterns finally set aflame? Such possibilities captivate both theorists and observers. For in galaxies like Malin 1, time becomes elastic. Evolution slows. Possibilities stretch across billions of years. These are not systems ruled by urgency, but by deep, cosmic patience. To peer at Malin 1 is to look not just at a galaxy, but at a principle, that the universe is not always in a rush, that brilliance is not the only path to meaning. It challenges our cultural bias toward the bright, the busy, the fast. It invites us to consider the invisible scaffolds, the dark matter, the quiet galaxies, the low-temperature clouds of gas drifting between stars. In this universe is not a stage, but a cathedral of gravity, and in this cathedral is what stretches across space and time, a monument to what can form in isolation. A map of what may await us in the dark corners of the cosmos. A question left by the universe in faint starlight, written so delicately now, with our new can we begin to decipher it. It does not dazzle, but it endures. It does not roar, but it resonates. And in the quiet folds of its spirals, the story of a slower universe unfolds, one we are beginning to understand. Perhaps the most haunting thing about Malin 1 is not its size, nor its faintness, but the realization that there may be millions more like it. Floating just beyond the limits of detection, they could form a shadow universe parallel to the one we know. A hidden architecture of types and ghostly spires shaping the cosmic dark. For every brilliant galaxy in the Hubble Deep Field, there may dynasties of giants like their light smeared across the heavens, lost to all the most sensitive eyes. Imagine great silent wheels of stars spinning in isolation, untethered from clusters, unstirred by cosmic collisions, their stories stretching back to the dawn of structure itself. They are the deep forest galaxies, standing ancient and untouched while the rest of the universe burns. Malin 1 is the first trail we found into that forest. It may even change how we interpret the past. When we look at the universe with our most, we often find luminous, chaotic systems, the galactic. But if galaxies like Malin 1 existed even then, they may entirely. Their light would have been swallowed by distance and dimness, their whispers drowned by the cosmic roar. We may have been reading history through only the loudest voices, while the vast, patient hidden, present on the margins. And what if life in a galaxy like Malin? That speculative as it may be, is would a star sit faint, sparse galaxy here? Its night be darker, its neighbors fewer? Or would the lack of crowding offer a kind of peace, a slower clock for evolution, a gentler environment where civilizations could rise without fear of nearby supernovae or gravitational chaos? We don't know. But Malin 1 widens on which such be asked. There is something poetic in its existence. This vast ghost of a galaxy unnoticed for so now revealing itself in shadow. It is object of science and a symbol of perspective, how much beyond our reach, not because it is too far or too small, but because we didn't for it. And so, Malin 1 becomes a kind of cosmic lesson. Not everything that matters is bright. Not all giants make noise. Some of the most massive, most ancient, most influential structures in the universe are invisible to us. Until we decide to search in new ways, with new eyes, and with a new willingness to question the boundaries of our perception. Malin 1 is not just a galaxy. It is a universe is more than what it seems. That the greatest discoveries may come not in explosions of light, but in the softest flickers of presence, in the vast, slow, nearly silent symphonies playing out at the edge of existence. And if Malin 1 is a symphony, then it is composed in a minor key, played across eons, and heard only by those who know how to listen. It defies every instinct we've developed as cosmic observers, to chase the brightest signals, the loudest bursts, the most violent transformations. It sits instead in the twilight of the universe, dim, massive, quiet, demanding a new kind of attention. Not reactive, not aggressive, but contemplative. What does it mean to be so nearly invisible? Malin 1 seems to embody a form of cosmic humility. It holds back. It exists without the need to declare itself. And yet, within it lies mass, gravitation, the cosmos mass. Enough to warp space, to influence neighbors we cannot yet see, to anchor a course in its silent gravity well. It doesn't blaze with youthful fervor. It abides. It's almost unsettling in the best possible way. To realize that such structures could be the rule, not the exception. That the universe might be mostly made of quiet giants, not bright fireworks. That our entire picture of galaxy evolution, of cosmic history, might be based on a biased sample, because we've been looking only at what shouts the loudest. And so, with Malin 1 as our guide, we begin to adjust. We build telescopes that don't just reach farther, but listen softer. We design algorithms to catch the faint and the diffuse. We revisit old images and find new meaning in what once looked like background noise. Like archaeologists brushing dust off an ancient map, we start to see patterns where before only static. There is beauty in this pursuit. Because Malin 1 is not just science. It's poetry written in starlight too faint to see without effort. It tells that mystery still exists, that the frontier is not closed. That there are still places in the universe where no metaphor has been stretched, no explanation pinned down. Resist simplification. Perhaps the truth Malin 1 is this, that the cosmos does not need to impress us to be profound. It does not need to be worthy. Its value is not in its visibility, but in its very being, in its expectations, in its refusal to conform. We gaze into its spiral arms and see not only hydrogen but possibility. The possibility that imagined. That stillness can be powerful. That the edge of perception is where the most meaningful discoveries often lie. And as we continue to chart the known and unknown, Malin 1 remains there, turning in the dark, a galactic lighthouse for the brave and the curious, a monument to everything we have seen. Not because it must, but because it can. And in that waiting, Malin 1 becomes something more than a galaxy. It becomes a threshold. A liminal presence between the visible and the invisible. Between what we think we know and what still lies just beyond the veil. It asks no questions and offers no immediate answers. Instead, it's to slow dwell in uncertainty, to reawaken our capacity for all. For centuries, astronomy has been driven by brightness, by things that explode, radiate, flare, or burn. But Malin 1 does none of these. It is not a spectacle. It is not urgent. It is not dramatic. And yet, its existence is revolutionary. It tells us there is an entire class that defy our models not through violence but through silence. Astronomers often speak of selection bias, the tendency to study only what we can easily observe. Malin 1 is the shadow cast by that bias, proof that our vision has been incomplete. It forces us to recalibrate our assumptions. If one such giant could hide for so long, how many others are behind the same curtain? New survey and see Rubin observe are being designed not just to find what's bright, but what's barely there. These tools will widen our cosmic aperture, allowing us to trace the outlines of galaxies like Malin 1 across the sky, gargantuan, faded echoes of early universe structure formation. And when we map them all, that the universe with scattered light, but a archipelago of ghostly forming beneath everything we see. This is the legacy Malin 1 offers us, not just data, not just mystery, but a new way of seeing. It speaks to something ancient within us, the desire to reach past, to uncover what lies beneath the surface. The same drove our ancestors to paint stars on cave walls, to trace meaning in patterns they could barely perceive. Malin 1 is the cosmic equivalent of a distant drumbeat in the fog. A reminder that discovery is not only about finding new things, but seeing old things in new ways. Perhaps that's what makes it so mesmerizing. It does stretch across thousands of light years. It stretches our imagination. It demands a cosmos not built only on brightness but on subtleties, gradients, silences. A cosmos where the faintest galaxies can be among the largest, where the slowest can be the most enduring, where the invisible can shape the visible in profound, foundational ways. Malin 1 turns, quietly, in spiral arms drift like memories through the void. Its stars flicker, not in celebration or perseverance. It does not compete for attention. It simply is. And in that quiet existence, it holds a mirror to us. What else have we missed, simply because it didn't shine? The answer is waiting. In shadows. In galaxies that drift like maps known. At the edges of everything. And perhaps that is Malin 1's greatest power. Not just as an object of study, but as a question made manifest. It stands at the edge of our maps, a colossal punctuation mark at the end of a sentence we didn't know we were writing. Not a period, but an ellipsis. It forces us to ask, what is a galaxy, really? Merely a bright collection of stars photographed and classified? Or is it something more? A gravitational presence, a rhythm of motion, a tapestry of memory woven from hydrogen and Malin 1 challenges the notion that visibility defines reality. Its greatest influences in the cosmos may come not from the most visible actors, but from the invisible framework that holds the entire drama together. In this way, Malin 1 becomes a metaphor not for an unseen universe, but for all the overlooked patterns in our lives, the quiet structures, the slow forces, the long-term orbits of thought and culture that shape who we are while escaping our immediate notice. It is the cosmic equivalent of ocean, dark, immense, and full of unknown currents. The more we study it, the more it seems to echo a deeper truth, that the universe is not just made of light, but of time. And time is Malin 1's native element. Every photon from its distant stars takes over a billion years to reach us, ancient light arriving from a place that may already have changed. When we observe Malin 1, we are not just seeing a galaxy, we are witnessing a fossil of cosmic slowness, a document from the age when galaxies were still stretching themselves into being. Its spiral arms are not roads, they are records. Its faint lightness, it is a whisper of age. Its distance is not, it is perspective. And yet, the paradox remains, despite its size, despite its mass, despite its subtle pull on the fabric of space, Malin 1 is almost invisible. It reminds us that importance is not always correlated with brightness. That influence does not require spectacle. that the true architects of the cosmos may be those who work silently in the dark. For those who gaze into the sky in search of wonders, Malin 1 is both a reward and a challenge, us with its sublime existence, a galaxy too large to ignore, too faint to dominate, too strange to fully understand. And it challenges us to reimagine the cosmos not as a theater of explosions, but as a symphony of contrasts, of brilliance and shadow, of action and stillness, of galaxies that shout and galaxies that simply endure. In the centuries to come, instruments grow even more sensitive, when our algorithms can listen to the silence between photons. We may find a universe teeming with Malin 1s, a secret scaffolding, a hidden order. Until then, Malin 1 turns on, unnoticed by most stars. A guardian of the quiet, a keeper of the slow, a monument to the unseen beauty of the cosmos. Somewhere in that distant halo of darkness, a single ancient star still shines. Not for us, but for the gravity that holds it close. And that single star, unremarkable, forgotten in the glare of quasars and pulsars, may be more meaningful than all the fireworks of the cosmos. Because it persists. Because it stays. Because it carries within it the quiet dignity of endurance. Malin 1 is a cathedral of such stars. Not a blazing temple, but a dim, ancient sanctuary where the universe has taken its time. Where gravity and silence have conspired to build something enormous, delicate, and hidden. Its spiral arms are not shouts, but outstretched hands reaching across time, across emptiness, waiting not to be seen, but to be understood. We are only beginning to do so. As our tools become sharper, as our minds more, we are learning how to see the unseeable. With every discovery of a low-surface brightness, with every detection of faint hydrogen stretching across dark space, the outline of Earth emerges, a dim mirror to the luminous one. Malin 1 stands at the forefront of this revelation, not as an anomaly, herald. Very existence suggests logic in the architecture of everything. That not all galaxies were born to shine. Some were born to drift, to last, to hold memory instead of light. Malin 1 and its kin are the true ancients of the cosmos, silent custodians of the long game, galaxies that chose endurance over brilliance, time over spectacle. There is a humility of a quiet awe. The kind that doesn't knock you back with noise, but slowly pulls you inward. Like gravity itself. To peer at Malin 1 is to stand at the edge of comprehension and feel it bend. To realize that we are still at the beginning of understanding what the universe is. That the cosmos, vast as it seems, may be vaster still not in distance, but in mystery. In the number of things we have not yet learned to see. And maybe that is what makes Malin 1 so profoundly moving. It is not trying to be seen. It just is. It teaches us that some truths do not. They wait. So we wait with them. We build better eyes. We learn to listen in the dark. And one night, quietly, the universe will speak in subtles, dim halos. In the still, eternal Malin 1. And when it speaks, it will not be in language, but in gravity. In the slow swirl of stars around a shadow, in the hydrogen rippling void, the silent alignment of mass light has faded. Malin one becomes placeable. A testament to when we only value what dazzles. It stands as the cosmic equivalent of deep time, unfolding not in bursts, but in drift, in patience, in persistence. In a universe obsessed with ignition, it is a study in restraint. Every pixel of its ghostly disk is a lesson. That vastness does not require volume. That presence is not always accompanied by radiance. That age can be quiet. And that the most extraordinary truths are often the ones that hide in plain sight. For what is Malin one if not a relic of possibility? Fragment of a universe that might have been more subtle, more stretched, more than we ever imagined. A suggestion that galaxies are not always cities of light, oceans of shadow where time flows wide and slow. And perhaps in that darkness there is wisdom, a kind of cosmic patience, a refusal to rush, a reminder that not everything brightly to leave a mark. That endurance, quiet, graceful, gravitational, may be the greatest force of all. The stars of Malin one do not compete with the blazing core of an active quasar. They do not pulse like neutron stars or erupt like supernovae. They are steady, faint, a whisper against the velvet dark. And yet, over hundreds of millions of years, they have continued their spiral dance, anchored by the gravity of things we cannot see, moving in the rhythm of a cosmos that respects even the faintest light. We are latecomers to their song, but we are listening now, with better ears, with wider eyes, with the humility to know that what is hidden is not lesser, only waiting. Malin one continues to turn, not for us, not for glory, but because that is what it does. Because that is what the universe made it to do. And perhaps the deepest beauty of all is this: it would still be turning, even if no one ever found it. Even if no human eye had ever glimpsed its pale spiral arms. Even if no telescope had brushed against its edge in a long exposure, Malin one would still be there. A galaxy adrift in the cosmic dark, turning in silence, sculpted by gravity and time. That truth holds something sacred. In a universe where observation often feels like creation, where to see is to bring into meaning, Malin one reminds us. Some things do not need an audience. They simply are. It is a living fossil of the cosmos. A galactic monument older than our species. Older than our planet's continents. Older than the light that reaches us now. To observe it is to reach through time itself. To touch a piece of the universe that has been turning slowly, faithfully, long before Earth ever bloomed with life. And so Malin one teaches us not only about galaxies, but about ourselves. It asks, can we still wonder at what doesn't beg for our attention? cherish the invisible, the patient, the subtle? Can we see beauty not in fire but in form? Not in spectacle but in endurance. Because it is not a performance. It does not shine for us. It does not explode for us, because that is what it does. And the greatest act of reverence we can offer is to witness it with humility. Malin is not it is real, a spiral ghost in the dark. A giant veiled by time and distance and dimness. Spinning the reach of our brightest, but not curiosity. And maybe that is enough. Maybe the looking of senses to hear the quiet of the cosmos is what connects us to everything, to the brilliant, to the eye of the sky. Malin continues to turn. Not loudly. Not quickly. Not for us. But still. And always. It turns. That endless turn becomes a symbol of a that is not to be heard. Of truths that endure recognition. Of beauty that lies in persistence, brilliance. It is but a reminder that silence has gravity. That mystery has mass. And that the cosmos is deeper, darker, and more wondrous. We ever dared to believe. We lay dimly, but now that we know it's there, we will look at the universe the same way again. Malin 1, galaxy that hid teach us how to see. Far beyond the familiar constellation among the distant spirals of the lies a gap most. NGC 4490, known as the Cocoon Galaxy, spins through space with an eerie glow. It is a place where cosmic violence meets delicate beauty, where the galactic collision has given stellar storm. To some, it looks like a butterfly unfolding its wings. To others, it is a broken monster, warped by gravitational trauma. But both views are right, because the cocoon is transformation in motion. Billions of years ago, the cocoon encountered a smaller galaxy, NGC 4485, and the two began a gravitational dance that would change them forever. The encounter didn't result in an immediate crash, but rather a slow, tidal disruption. Gravity pulled at their stars, stretching out filaments of gas and dust like threads of silk being tugged apart. Streams of material now bridged the space between them, creating a cosmic umbilical cord, a lasting scar of their encounter. As the galaxies tore at each other, shockwaves ignited waves of star formation, triggering a blaze of newborn suns in once quiet regions. That is why the cocoon glows, not from a central supermassive black hole, but from countless young stars burning blue. Their radiation lights up the surrounding dust, creating the comet-like sheen that gives the galaxy its ghostly beauty. Infrared and ultraviolet images reveal knots of intense starburst activity, evidence of a cosmic nursery in overdrive. The galaxy is still reeling from the gravitational interaction, its structure asymmetrical, almost broken, but alive. The trail of stellar just a sign of chaos. It's also a symbol of rebirth. In galactic, the cocoon is young, still evolving, still reshaping its identity. It shows us what happens when galaxies collide not in fury, but in embrace. The result isn't destruction, it's transformation. Not death, but metamorphosis. And that metamorphosis is far from over. The Cocoon Galaxy is still unraveling its story in light and motion. Its twisted arms, rich in hydrogen gas, continue to collapse into dense pockets where gravity forges new stars from cosmic dust. These stars, blue giants, short-lived and powerful, release fierce winds and ultraviolet radiation that sculpt the surrounding clouds into glowing arcs and filaments. It's a celestial forge where beauty is born from turbulence. Look closer, and you'll see something even stranger. The cocoon doesn't move like other spiral galaxies. Its rotation is uneven, its mass unbalanced, as if still haunted by the ghost of its galactic partner. The smaller companion, NGC 4485, has been dragged and reshaped into a warped remnant still tethered by tidal streams. Together, they resemble a pair of torn wings, one bright, one fading, frozen in the slow motion dance of gravitational entanglement. Astronomers believe this pair will one day merge entirely, becoming a single, larger galaxy. But until then, we are witnessing a moment in cosmic adolescence, awkward, luminous, and profoundly rare. Few galaxies in the nearby universe show this level of activity from such a close interaction without fully merging. That's what makes the cocoon such a compelling subject. It offers a glimpse into a fleeting stage of galactic life that lasts only a few hundred million years, a heartbeat time. And as telescopes like Hubble and James Webb peer deeper into this glowing cocoon, they're not just observing its shape, coding its past, its future, and its message. A message whispered in light, that destruction and creation are not opposites, but companions. That galactic life itself must sometimes fall apart to shine, yes, but also to evolve. What we see in the cocoon is not a final form, but a transition caught in progress, suspended between what was and what will be. Its brilliance is not a static glow, but evidence of a galaxy rewriting itself by cell, star by star. Every luminous knot of newborn stars I am still becoming. And perhaps that's why it captures our imagination so strongly. In its warped beauty, we see echoes of our own nature. The cocoon is imperfect, asymmetric, wounded, and yet radiant. It carries its scars openly, transforming them into luminous regions of creativity. It is not a pristine spiral, nor a stable elliptical. It is something in between. Something wild. Something alive. There's poetry in that. A galaxy torn open by gravitational tides doesn't retreat, it responds by igniting with light. It refuses to fade. Instead, it blazes with youth, even as its structure collapses and reforms. That duality, chaos and order, ruin and rebirth, gives the cocoon its strange magnetism. You cannot look at it without feeling that it is telling you something, even if only in the silent language of starlight. In deep space, silence reigns. But galaxies like the cocoon speak through color and form, through disrupted arms and blazing. They are not static monuments, they are stories. not in words, but in trajectories and turbulence, in spirals stretched by time, in tales of light left behind like memory. And as we gaze across millions of light years, catching the cocoon mid-transformation, we're reminded that even in the vast, cold distances of the universe, beauty is born from up. That light can rise from fracture. That a galaxy can glow like a comet to signal the end, but to announce that something wondrous has just begun. Something wondrous and fleeting. For the cocoon galaxy, like all things in the universe, is a work in motion. The brilliant starbursts we see today will dim in time. The young, hot stars will live fast and die young, collapsing into neutron stars or erupting in supernovae that scatter heavy elements into surrounding space. These explosions will seed the next generation of stars, adding layers of complexity to the galaxy's chemical tapestry. In this way, even death feeds creation. Even endings write the next chapter. The cocoon's glow, so reminiscent of a comet streaking through our skies, is not simply visual poetry, it's astrophysical evidence. A map of energy transfers, gravitational stress, and stellar ignition. Astronomers use every available wavelength, radio, optical, infrared, ultraviolet, to trace the invisible threads that pull the galaxy into its current form. And the more they study it, the more they see filaments that twist like tendons, loops of ionized gas, tidal tails that stretch for tens of thousands of light years. It's like watching a cocoon made not of silk, but of starlight and gravity. And yet, for all our instruments and models, the cocoon still complete understanding. Its asymmetry suggests past collisions beyond the current companion. Its starburst activity ebbs and surges with a rhythm we're only beginning to decode. Even the nature of its central regions, whether it hides a quiet black hole or simply a dense star cluster, remains a subject of debate. It is a puzzle wrapped in radiance. A question flaring with life. But perhaps the most powerful thing the cocoon shows us is this. Transformation does not always follow a script. It is wild. It is unpredictable. It defies the categories we try to place upon it: spiral, irregular, barred, elliptical. The cocoon breaks the rules not to destroy, but to create anew. It is not a finished form. It is a threshold. A moment of becoming, stretched across millions of years. And in that moment of becoming, we find a reflection of ourselves. Just as the cocoon galaxy resists neat classification, so too does human transformation. We are not one thing, we are many. In flux. Evolving. Torn between histories and futures, shaped by forces beyond our control, yet still capable of radiating beauty in the aftermath. The cocoon reminds us that disruption is not the opposite of growth. it is often its catalyst. That what appears broken may, in truth, be in the process of unfolding. If we could stand on a quiet world orbiting a star within the cocoon's shimmering arms, what would the sky look like? Would we see the faint streamers of starlight stretching toward the distant NGC 4485? Would the night pulse with the glow of newborn stars, too many to count, too bright to ignore? Perhaps it would feel like standing inside a cosmic storm, one not of violence, but of recreation. A storm that doesn't destroy, it rearranges. That is the deeper mystery of the cocoon galaxy. It doesn't just glow because it is active. It glows because it is alive with story. It is writing itself across the canvas of the universe, carving a signature of gravity and light into space-time. It is the butterfly emerging from a rupture. It is the monster reshaped by time. It is neither, and both. And while our telescopes record its photons from millions of years ago, what we truly receive is a lesson that transformation takes time, that beauty can rise from asymmetry, and that light, real, radiant light, often comes from places that have been torn wide open. And so, the cocoon continues to drift through the cosmic sea, a glowing fragment of galactic evolution frozen in a luminous sky. It does not know that we are watching. It does not know that it has become metaphor, mirror, muse. And yet, it gives us everything, a glimpse into the mechanics of the universe, a canvas for the human soul, a reminder that what is deformed can still be magnificent. In some distant epoch, long after the last wave of starbirth has quieted, the cocoon will settle. It may emerge fully with its companion, becoming a more stable, unified form. Its brilliant clusters will dim, its tails will fade, and its strange, radiant shape will be remembered only through the records of those who once looked up and saw more than just light. They saw motion, struggle, rebirth. And perhaps this is the true meaning of the cocoon, that even the most fleeting phases of transformation are worthy of reverence. That what we call intermediate is not unfinished, but essential. It's the hinge between states, the moment between collapse and becoming. Most galaxies live in long, quiet chapters, but the cocoon burns through pages. And we, lucky enough to witness it, are reading a rare sentence in the story of the cosmos. Because ultimately, the cocoon doesn't ask for understanding. It simply continues, glowing, spinning, changing. A whisper of stardust caught in the grand breath of the universe. It continues, not because it chooses to, but because the laws of the universe demand it. Gravity pulls, gas collapses, stars ignite, and time carries the whole tapestry forward. The Cocoon Galaxy is not striving for perfection, nor reaching toward an ideal. It is simply obeying the ancient rhythms written into the very fabric of space-time. And yet, in this unconscious obedience, it creates something astonishing. Something that defies expectation. Something that moves us. We study galaxies like the cocoon to understand astrophysics, how gas behaves in tidal interactions, how collisions reshape structure, how starburst regions evolve over time. But what we gain is far more than data. We gain perspective. We gain wonder. A luminous cocoon hanging in the void is not just a system of equations, it is a cathedral of chaos and light, stitched together by invisible forces, echoing with the memory of impact. And deep within those chaotic arms, beyond the bright knots of new stars, past the veils of dust, lie the survivors. Ancient stars, quiet and dim, that predate the collision. They orbit steadily, like monks in meditation, wrapped in a frenzy of a changing cosmos yet untouched by it. These stars are the memory of the galaxy before transformation, proof that continuity exists even amid radical change. They are the low-burning embers beneath the firestorm, whispering, "We were here before the storm." We endure. The Cocoon Galaxy, then, is not just a picture of change, it is a layered symphony. Old and new, calm and eruption, light and shadow. And through it all runs the thread of cosmic time, unhurried and relentless. Millions of years from now, its current shape will no longer exist. The brilliant glow we see today will have faded. But the matter, the stars, the dust, the dark matter scaffolding, it will still be there, repurposed into a new form. A new name. A new story. And what of us? We are the witnesses. Fragile beings on a small blue planet, staring through lenses and mirrors, collecting light from a distant galaxy that doesn't know we exist. And yet, from that light we craft meaning. From that structure we find reflection. We, too, live in cocoon phases, shifting, shedding, breaking, becoming. We, too, glow sometimes not despite our chaos, but because of it. Yes, the cocoon asks nothing of us, and yet it gives. It gives the gift of perspective, quiet awe, and a sense that even in the farthest reaches of space, transformation is not only possible, but inevitable. And in that inevitability, there is something strangely comforting. Because if stars can be born from the torn gas of colliding galaxies, if beauty can emerge from gravitational disarray, then perhaps there is hope woven into the deepest laws of the universe. The light from the cocoon takes about 30 million years to reach us. That means we are not looking at what it is. we are looking at what it was. We see a past moment, suspended in space, still unfolding before our eyes. And yet, to us, it is alive. Its starlight still enters our atmosphere, still strikes the lenses of our telescopes, still activates neurons in the brains of scientists and dreamers alike. It's an ancient signal arriving in the present, a kind of cosmic time travel, reminding us that even what is long gone can still have meaning, can still shine. This alone elevates the Cocoon Galaxy from an astronomical object to something almost spiritual. A fossil of motion. A monument to impermanence. A mirror held up to all things that change, break, heal, and continue. It teaches us a subtle truth that no equation can contain. The universe is not made of stillness, but of momentum. Nothing stays. Everything flows. The cocoon is beautiful because it is unfinished, because it is unresolved, because it is in flux. And when its light finally fades, it will not be gone. It will live on in data archives, in photos captured by space telescopes, in the memory of those who studied its strange arms and glowing knots. But more than that, it will live on in the idea it represents, that even in the most chaotic of moments, something luminous can arise. Somewhere in the intergalactic dark, there are other galaxies undergoing similar fates, colliding, igniting. The cocoon is not alone. But it is ours to witness, now. A gift of time, of orientation, of curiosity. And as we stare into its unraveling spiral, we find ourselves not as outsiders, but as part of its story. The cocoon evolves, and so do we. It brightens, and so do our questions. So do our imaginations. And as our imaginations stretch to meet it, we realize something profound. The Cocoon Galaxy is not just an object in the sky, it is a process. A majestic unfolding written in gravity and time. It is not a single moment, but a moments, one another like geolite by ancient collisions, flowing gas, stellar death. It is a story told over millions of years, and we are catching only a single chapter. What we witness as light is, in memory, a memory of forces that once shaped galaxies long before humans existed. The cocoon reminds us that the cosmos is not merely a backdrop, it is the origin of all things. Every atom in our bodies was forged in ancient stars not unlike those now being born in the cocoon's glowing heart. That dust and gas, compressed by time and trauma, is the same stuff from which planets and life emerge. To gaze into the cocoon is, in a sense, to gaze into our own ancestry. And yet the cocoon is also unique. There are countless interacting galaxies in the universe, but few shine with this level of starburst. Few bear such elegantly tangled arms. Few like something torn and sacred at once. Astronomers have categorized it as a Magellanic-type spiral, but such too clinical for a system so emotionally stirring. The cocoon is not just a classification, it is an experience. Its asymmetry is not disorder, it is character. It's accidental, it is earned. We speak of galaxies as structures, but the cocoon defies structural thinking. It pulses like a heartbeat. and stretches like breath. It does not sit still, it becomes. In it, we see not just a map of stars, but a philosophy of impermanence. Nothing in the cocoon is fixed. Its stars will fade. Its companion will fall closer. Its shape will warp. But this very impermanence is what gives it meaning. The cocoon is beautiful not in spite of its fragility, but because of it. And perhaps that it is what draws us in, again and again, to these distant lights. Not just the spectacle, but the sense that something vast and real is happening out there, beyond our reach, and yet somehow deeply connected to who we are. The cocoon doesn't ask for viewers, but it receives them. It does not speak, but it teaches. It does not live as we do, but it lives. Because to look upon the galaxy is to face the paradox of cosmic, that what is distant can feel intimate, and what is ancient. We are separated from it by 30 million light-years, a distance so vast our minds cannot truly grasp it, and yet, something in its shape, its fire, its broken symmetry, resonates. It calls to something buried in us. Something wordless. Something that understands, at a fundamental level, that transformation always comes with pain, and that light often emerges only through rupture. The cocoon is not an idealized spiral like the Milky Way, nor a graceful elliptical drifting in retirement. It is a galaxy caught mid, its form stretched, its arms torn, its dust ignited. Incompleteness is what gives it life. What we are witnessing is not a conclusion. It is the in-between. And in a universe governed by entropy, these brief luminous interludes are rare and precious. Perhaps the cocoon is beautiful because it is unfinished. Because it is vulnerable. Because in it we sense not perfection, but striving. A striving without intent, without consciousness, but with undeniable motion. That is what we are, motion within stillness. Meaning within chaos. We are drawn to the cocoon not just as scientists or artists, but as participants in the same cosmic narrative. What it is doing, we are doing. Differently. Briefly. But no less truly. Think of the stars being born in its glowing knots right now. They will live and die long before their light ever reaches another intelligent eye. And yet they blaze all the same. Not for an audience. Not for a purpose. But because that is what they are made to do. In that way, the cocoon teaches them the most difficult and liberating truth of all, that worth does not depend on permanence. That brilliance is not reserved for the undamaged. That transformation is not a detour, it is the way. So let the cocoon spiral. Let it tear and glow and merge. Let it write itself in the language of collapse and creation. And let us, small though we are, listen to its silence, study its scars, and learn from its light. Because the cocoon does not just whisper through its light, it remembers. Every distorted arc, every plume of glowing gas, every displaced star is a record of what came before. It remembers the slow approach of its companion, the rising tension of gravity, the invisible that pulled at its arms until they broke. It remembers, and it carries those memories not in words or thoughts, but in form, in shape, in motion. Its entire body is an archive written in stellar fire. And what is memory, if not the shaping of identity? The cocoon is not what it once was, and not yet what it will become, but it is whole even in. It is not waiting to be beautiful. It is not waiting to be complete. It shines now, as it is, fragmented, asymmetrical, alive. And in this, it teaches something that no theory of alone can tell us. Wholeness is not the absence of damage. It is the presence of resilience, of light that endures despite. We often speak of galaxies in cold, distant terms, systems, formations, masses, flux. But the cocoon strips away that detachment. Too intimate, too raw. It is a wound lit from within that sings. And when we look at it, not just with instruments, but with nation, we recognize it truly is a cause. Perhaps that is the secret like glow. Not merely the emission of young stars or the scattering of dust, no. Cut through time to reach us. It says, this is what it means to change. This is what it means to let go of form and find fire. To lose shape and gain radiance. To break open and still create. To shine, not for permanence, not for recognition, but because the process itself is sacred. And it isn't that, in some quiet way, what we all hope for. That our changes might mean something. That our scars might speak. That we, too, in our brief flicker of cosmic time, might glow, even if no one ever sees it. Even if, like the cocoon, our light travels through the dark, unobserved, unmeasured, but real. So let the cocoon spiral on. Let it twist and blaze and dissolve. Let it remind us that nothing stays the same, and that this is not a tragedy, it is the pulse of the cosmos itself. We are not here to resist change, but to be transformed by it. To let it shape us. To let it break us open and fill us with light. The cocoon will fade one day. Its fire will settle, its dance will end. But the light it sends out now, long after the source is gone. And so, in the grand stillness of the cosmos, where time stretches far beyond our reckoning and space expands without edge, the cocoon leaves behind something more enduring than structure. It leaves a resonance. A quiet echo that lingers in us long after the telescope is turned away. Not because it demanded our attention, but because it offered a truth that the universe is not a place of perfection, but of perpetual transformation. This truth does not comfort in the way soft things do. It is not easy. It tells us that nothing will remain as it is. That everything we know will shift, stretch, collapse, and be reformed. But it also tells us something beautiful, that in that continual unraveling, there is light. Not just the literal starlight born of fusion and fire, but the symbolic light of meaning, of significance, of grace. The cocoon reminds us that there is no final form. Not for galaxies. Not for lives. That all things are process, motion, change. And if the universe is sacred, then perhaps this endless cycle of becoming is its most sacred act. Stars are born, burn, and die. Galaxies merge, fall apart, rebuild. Civilizations rise and fade. Individuals change recognition. And in every phase, there is something worth witnessing. Something luminous. It is humbling to realize that we galaxy mid-dance. By pure accident of space and time, we exist in a narrow window during transformation is visible. Had we lived too early, we would have seen a quiet spiral. Too late, and we've the remnant of a merger. But we are here now, watching, interpreting, writing poems in the language of starlight. And maybe that is not an accident at all. Maybe the purpose of consciousness in the universe is not to conquer or to master, but to observe, to witness, to feel awe deeply and with passion, to look upon the cocoon and recognize something wordless and vast with a memory we never lived, a grief we never owned, a becoming that mirrors our own, flickering quietly through every cell, every breath, every choice to change. So the cocoon spins on, uncaring, magnificent. And we, tiny and impermanent, carry its light forward in the only way we know, by telling its story. Then let us carry it to its quiet crescendo. Because stories like the cocoons are never truly finished. They echo, like ripples in the dark sea, long after the stone has sunk. And so we hold its image, not just in data, but in memory, in metaphor, in myth. The galaxy becomes more than gas and stars, it becomes symbol of resilience, of impermanence, of becoming. We will not see its final shape. No human will. The light of that future has not yet begun its journey to us. Long after our own civilization has dimmed, long after our monuments have crumbled and our names have been forgotten, the cocoon will still be shifting, folding into a new identity. A merger, perhaps. A fading ember of starburst activity. Or maybe something stranger, something no mind yet born could imagine. And still, the photons it sends today, this very moment, travel outward. Silent. Unyielding. Headed toward planets we will never see, past stars not yet formed, across a darkness that has no end. In this way, the cocoon becomes eternal. Not because it does not change, but because it does, and in doing so, leaves a trail of fire across time. Maybe this is what eternity looks like. Not stillness, but continuation. Not perfection, but motion. Not a galaxy frozen in time, but one unraveling with luminous grace, piece by piece, into the unknown. And as we sit here, fragile minds on a quiet planet, wrapped in atmosphere and thought, we understand something that can't quite be spoken. That the cocoon is not out there. It is also in us. We are made of that same dust. We are shape forces. We are spiraling. We, too, are trying to become something whole out of what has been broken. So remember this. When you look and find them among the stars, you are not just seeing a galaxy. You are witnessing the universe speaks aloud. At instruction, there is Genesis. In distortion, there is beauty. And in every one of us, the cocoon, still unfolding. And in that unfolding, there is a quiet defiance. A defiance finality. Against the illusion that anything, once torn, cannot become radiant again. The cocoon does not resist the forces that shaped it. It lets them move through it, reshape it, ignite it. Somehow, and it becomes not less, more luminous, more expressive, more true to the invisible symphony playing out in the deep fabric of space-time. We often fear to change. We cling to symmetry, to stability, to the known. But the cocoon shows us is not a rupture, it is a rhythm. That to bend is not to break. That to change is not to lose oneself, but to find a deeper form of being. The galaxy's fractured arms, stretched by gravity's unseen fingers, are not signs of damage. They are brushstroke. The canvas is vast. The painter is time. And in this art of the infinite, we are the briefest witnesses. Blink and you miss it, observers in a cosmos 13 billion years old. But maybe that's what makes it matter. Maybe it is precisely our brevity that makes our witnessing sacred. We see, for a flicker of existence, of a galaxy caught between states. We see it not as data alone, but as symbol. As mirror. As lesson. Let this then be our inheritance. Not only to map the stars, but to listen to them. To hear in their silence the truths that surpass language. That all things become. That becoming is never neat. That even in the darkest regions of space, there is an impulse toward light. Not the violent blaze of dominance, but the quiet, persistent birth. So let the cocoon remain what it is. A galaxy in between. A metaphor in motion. A luminous fragment of the universe's long, unfinished poem. And let us, just for this moment, not rush to solve it, or define it, or reduce it to parts. Let us simply stand in awe. Let us be still in the presence of something so vast, so ancient, and yet so familiar it feels of our own becoming. Because maybe, just maybe, the cocoon galaxy does not need to be understood. Maybe it only needs to be witnessed. And let us remain with it a little longer. With the quiet spiral, the torn arms, the glow that defies explanation. There is something sacred in a galaxy that does not fit its name. The word cocoon implies containment, protectionness. But this cocoon is open, exposed, radiant. It is not wrapped in silence, it is unfelt revelation. Not hiding, but becoming visible. Slowly, magnificently, across the void. And the name fits, because a cocoon is not a shelter from the world. It is a place of transformation. A place where a former self dissolves. where form collapses, and something new takes shape. A cocoon is not the end. It is the threshold between what was and what dares to be. In this way, NGC 4490 lives up to its name more truly than most. It is not merely in a cocoon phase. It is the cocoon. Its stars, its gas, its shattered elegance. They are the swirling interior of a metamorphosis playing out at cosmic scale. And just like the butterfly, the cocoon is not aware of what it will become. It has no map for its future. No certainty. Only motion. Only response. Only the slow reshaping of what is into what might be. How strange and human that is. We too pass through our own cocoon phases. Periods of loss, of rupture, of reshaping. We too break and become. Not always beautifully. Not always visibly. But always meaningfully. And perhaps that is why this galaxy moves us. Why, despite its distance, we feel something stir when we look at it. Because it tells us, you are not alone in your becoming. Even the stars must break to be born. Even galaxies must lose their symmetry to find their next shape. Even the universe, vast and cold and silent, carries within it the promise of transformation. And that promise lives in us, too. Shall I continue, perhaps with a final reflective passage to gently close the cosmic arc? Then let us close this journey, not with an ending, but with a breath. Because the story of the cocoon galaxy is not one of completion, it is one of continuity. Even as we turn away from the telescope, the galaxy goes on. It spirals. It glows. It reshapes itself in silence. And long after our thoughts have drifted to other things, it remains there, suspended in the dark, a luminous question mark written in stardust. Perhaps the deepest truth it leaves us with is this: that transformation does not require understanding. It does not wait for permission. It does not announce its purpose. It simply arrives, unfolding across years, across light, across the quiet spaces inside us. And if we are lucky, we notice. We stop for just long enough to see what it is becoming, before it becomes something else. So let the cocoon be what it is. An unfinished galaxy. An unfinished thought. An unfinished reflection of us all. Let it teach without speaking. Let it guide without moving. Let it simply exist. So that we may remember that to be in transition is not a flaw. It is a force. that to glow while unraveling. It is not a contradiction. It is the essence of becoming. And that far beyond the edge of what we know. In a spiral torn open by gravity and time. Something ancient is still turning. Still burning. Still becoming. Even now. Even here. Even in us. And so, the cocoon turns. It turns not for us, not for glory, not for any reason we can measure, but simply because that is what it was born to do. To spiral through the dark. To shatter and shine. To carry its memory in motion. To become something new. Even as pieces of the old still drift within it. We, too, move forward now. Changed perhaps, in small and quiet ways. Carrying the image of a broken galaxy. That was never truly broken. Only transforming. Only dark. As a silent reminder. That beauty is not in the stillness of form, but in the courage to change. The cocoon teaches. This is what the stars remember. And this is what we take with us. As we step back into our own lives. Carrying a little more wonder. A little more light. And a deeper knowing. That we, too, are still unfolding. A vast space of deep where darkness cradles the birth and death of galaxies unlike PG-0014. From it appears serene, aloof stars, pale and suspended like a ripple on the cosmos. But examination reveals something far more enigmatic. Unlike most rings which typically have a defined central bulge or nucleus, this galaxy lacks a clear core. It is as if its heart has gone missing, or perhaps never existed at all. PG-C-100-0714 belongs to a rare class known as Hogue type, named after the astronomer Arthur Hogue described structures in 1950. These galaxies are defined by their nearly perfect ring shape surrounding an isolated core. But PG-C-100-0714 is even more peculiar. Not only does it lack the typical central nucleus, but the ring itself has the eerie look of a cosmic bone in space. The stars in the ring are young, bright, and blue, a hallmark of recent star formation. The origin of this ring remains unknown. No signs of a recent collision, no bridge of stars connects it to a near neighbor, or structure population. Astronomers believe that ring galaxy is the result of a gravitational interaction. A galaxy plunges through a larger density waves outward that trigger the formation of stars in a ring-like pattern. But in the EC-100-714, such an explanation feels incomplete. There is no visible companion, no telltale trail of disruption, only the silence of a nearly perfect circle against the black. The mystery deepens when we consider the symmetry of the ring. Cosmic collisions tend to create warped, asymmetric structures, yet this ring is remarkably even, its stars orbiting in a well-ordered loop. Some astronomers propose that this galaxy may have formed its ring long ago, and any evidence of the initial event has since faded beyond recognition. Others speculate perhaps involving a burst expelled from an core might have led to configuration, leaving only a ghostly halo of stars and no visible progenitor. Adding another layer of curiosity is the presence of a faint ring, subtly distinct from the outer one. This nested episodes of activity possibly billions. The inner indicating older stars, while the outer ring is bluer and younger, suggesting a timeline of star formation that ebbs and flows across galactic epochs. What force can create two rings at different times, with such distinct properties and no central bulge to guide them? PGC 1000714 thus becomes more than a galaxy. It is a puzzle written in starlight. Its emptiness is not a void, but a question. Why is there no clear nucleus? What mechanism preserves such perfect symmetry? Did this galaxy solitude, or was it sculpted by invisible hands, gravitational encounters now lost to time? To study such an anomaly, astronomers turn to multi-wavelength observations, scanning the galaxy across visible and infrared light. The data confirmed what the eye had already suggested. The outer ring is bursting with hot, young, massive stars than 130 years old. In contrast, the inner region, not a traditional bulge, but a faint, roundish core, older, redder stars, possibly as old as 5.5 years. Gauge difference suggests continuous birth told in two distinct ring, so brilliant, may have emerged after a silent influx of cold gas, fueling a new generation of stars in a perfect circle around the aging galactic heart. But where did this gas come from? One hypothesis suggests that PGC 1000714 may have accreted from its surroundings, from the faint, filamentary web of intergalactic gas that stretches between galaxies. Over time, this material could have spiraled inward, coalescing into a ring and triggering star formation without the need for a violent collision. If true, the galaxy becomes a cosmic oasis, slowly gathering nourishment from the void to spark new life, all while preserving its symmetry and isolation. There's also the possibility of an ancient merger, one that occurred so long ago that its visible scars have faded. Perhaps years in the past, a smaller galaxy collided head-on with what would become PGC 1000714, disturbing its stars and triggering an initial ring structure. Over the eons, gravity could have smoothed out the chaos, leaving behind a calm, nearly flawless circle. Meanwhile, the interstellar gas ejected or displaced in that early event might have slowly settled into a disk, forming the second, outer ring long after the cosmic violence had ceased. Yet, each of these explanations is like a story with missing pages. No one can fully account for all of the observed features. Why is the outer ring so clean and free of distortion? There no residual spiral structure inside. Features so common in ring galaxies formed by internal processes. Why are the two rings so different in age, but so harmoniously aligned? These questions are more than isolation. Galaxy 1000714 offer the glimpses into the nonlinear pathways evolution. They defy the boundaries of spiral or elliptical, young or old, dynamic or passive. They sit at the edge of our understanding, inviting astronomers to rethink how galaxies grow, interact, and perhaps the most striking PGC 1000714 is this, but its balance, a cosmic yin and yang of youth and age, silence and light, chaos long gone and order left, first filled with turbulent elapsing clouds and spiraling arms, the tranquil perfection of PGC 1000714 deliberate anomaly. Stands alone in space, but in concept, floating ring with no sculptor in sight. And maybe that's what makes it beautiful, not what we know about, but everything we still. Even its location adds to. PGC 0004 is not part of a densely packed cluster where gravitation reigns. It relative isolation from the violent galactic arenas where ring structures are typically forged. This solitude suggests a slow, almost meditative evolution, a process sculpted not by catastrophic but more elusive. Precisely this seclusion that allowed the galaxy to persist so unblemished. Without neighbors to stir its structure, without waves of tidal turbulence to disrupt stars. GC-107 may have been granted the luxury of stillness. This quiet setting, however, paradox. If the galaxy is, how did some stars arise? Star formation material, gas and dust, and some catalyst set it ablaze. In many galaxies, this comes from galactic mergers or the inward flow of material along spiral arms. But PGC-100-714 shows no signs of disturbance. The usual suspects are missing, yet the stars continue to shine, blue and bold, as if birthed by nothing more than the geometry of the void. There is something haunting in this, something philosophical. PGC-100-0714 challenges our understanding not just of galactic mechanics, but of time and transformation. In its shape, we see echoes of an event that might have happened once, or perhaps never happened at all. It's a shape with no obvious cause, a ring without a splash. Reminds us, not every structure is the consequence of violence. Some are the result of waiting. Of unfolding slowly, invisibly, across the eons. The absence of a central bulge becomes a symbol in itself, a silence at the core of the galaxies hold their condensing stars and matter into bright, dense hearts. But PGC-100-074 does the opposite. It expresses itself at the edges. Its beauty lives not in its symmetry of its circumference. It is a galaxy that speaks through absence, through what it withholds rather than what it... And in that sense, PGC-100-0714 is more than just a structure, it is a question mark inscribed. An object that resists categorization, that defies the templates of galactation, that whispers of an understood. It is both primitive and refined, ancient and newborn, mechanical and mystical. It is galaxies like PGC-100-0714 that remind us the universe is not merely a system of laws, but also a landscape of exceptions. For every model we build, every formula we write to predict the motion of stars or the growth of galactic disks, there exists a PGC-100-0714 calmly invalidating our certainty with defiance. It's not just a loop of ours, it is a loop in our logic, circling an explanation we have yet to find. And yet, this very mystical scientific imagination, with each puzzle, PGC-100-0714 becomes a natural laboratory for new theories. Could its structure be the result of interactions not with another galaxy, but with dark matter? Perhaps invisible substructures, filaments or clumps of unseen mass, guided the collapse of intergalactic gas into a ring. Or maybe PGC-100-0714 is an ancient relic of a population of ring galaxies that once existed in the early universe, long before the dominance of spirals and ellipticals, a fossilized blueprint